their life exists because of something you did. And I can't express what an incredibly powerful feeling that is. It's like vacuuming a really dirty floor. You just get this really good feeling of change happening.
Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can learn all about the animal kingdom and become smarter than all of your friends. Every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. Hello, I'm Tristan, the voice of Formosa Fauna. I love animals and I love talking about them. If you're even remotely curious about the animal kingdom, you're in the right place. Taiwan's SPCA enforces anti-cruelty laws with a focus on education. Co-founder Connie Chang is here with us to share one of the most common misconceptions pet owners in Taiwan have and to explain what pet owners should be doing instead.
A lot of the reports that we get involve owners feeding their pets improper foods. So this includes oily leftovers or bentos or porridge and rice for dogs and cats, and which is not recommended by anybody, vets or the SPCA. So what we educate people to feed their pets on is, for example, for dogs and cats, usually the easiest and the most nutritionally balanced would be proper pet food, for example, kibble or canned foods. We also, encourage people to try fresh foods, and this we call this 鲜食. So a lot of people are starting to do that now, boiled vegetables, meat. But for that, just be careful that it needs to be nutritionally balanced as well.
Asia's largest regular gathering of animal protection organizations, the Asia for Animals Conference, AFA, is happening right here in Taiwan from August 25th to the 29th.
Register so you can get to know more about animal conservation and protection, both right here in Taiwan and across the world.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
We're here with Jenna Dodson, who has fostered over 70 dogs and is continuing to work with stray dogs in Taiwan. Could you say hello for us?
Hi, nice to be here.
Let's talk about how you got started working with stray dogs.
I was in college taking a communications course, and the teacher required 50 hours of volunteer work. And so I got on volunteer.org, which is an awesome website, and looked for anything I could do. And a rescue called Retriever Rescue of Colorado said they were looking for photographers. And I was like, that seems easy enough. I'll do that. And so I filled out an application, and they called me and said, we don't need a photographer, but how do you feel about being a microchipper?
To clarify, is that legal?
It is legal, yes. You don't need any licensure to microchip dogs.
Really? You don't even need a test, maybe? Like a written exam?
No, you do not. Honestly, you're not even required to have training, though they did give me training.
How long did it take for you to learn how to microchip?
Couple hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it scary?
At first, you just have to get used to... So the way a microchip works is it's about the size of a grain of rice, and it's in like a syringe, like what you would get a shot from. And so if you're not used to sticking a needle in an animal, you have to get over that. But once you're, used to sticking a needle in an animal, you're just good to go.
Where do the microchips usually go?
There's a spot right between like the base of the neck and the shoulder blades. And if you pick up the skin there, it creates sort of like a tent shape. And so you just put it right in like the door to the tent. And so it goes right under the skin above the muscle.
Oh, okay. All right. So you started microchipping.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big first step.
It certainly was a weird one, but when you get to know rescue, you realize like they are desperate for any help they can get, and whatever spot a person is willing to fill, they'll take it. If you want to, do social media, they're happy to have social media. But what they needed most was a microchipper. So when I said, sure, I'll learn, they were pleased as punch.
What was the next step for you?
The next step was I volunteered to transport dogs, just like a dog would be in Kansas or some random place in Colorado where I'm from, and it would need to get to another random place in Colorado. So I started just taking my car and going and picking up the dog and bringing it to the next place it needed to be. I slowly got more involved doing different things from there until I finally started fostering.
When you were driving dogs to the next spot that they needed to be, was that usually because they were getting adopted?
No. Adopters have to pick up their own dogs.
Oh.
This is maybe the dog is at the foster home in Colorado Springs, but needs to go to a surgery at a vet in Littleton. Or maybe the dog is being relinquished by its owners, and you can't tell the owners where the dog is going because they might harass the foster.
Ooh.
So you go and get the dog from the previous owners and take it to the foster. Or Colorado doesn't actually have a stray dog problem. They ship in dogs from other states that do have a stray dog problem. So you might go meet a dog transport, pick up the dog from the transport, and take it to its foster home.
Okay. And then the reason why people who are adopting have to pick up their own dog is because...
we want to make sure they can transport their dogs different places. The dog needs to go to a vet. You want to know they can get him to the vet.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It's like how they charge people to adopt dogs, when sometimes they could maybe give them away for free. They just want to make sure that you have, the incentive and you have the financial ability to at least provide that much, right?
Exactly. When you give dogs away for free, a whole host of bad things can happen.
Yes. And then continuing on to when you started fostering, you mentioned that you started off being a dog midwife.
That's one way of putting it. My mother and I had been watching Call the Midwife, which we just loved. And we were just chatting one day. We're like, oh, it looks so much fun to be a midwife. And I was just like, what if we fostered a pregnant mama dog and then we could be like dog midwives? And my mom was like, that is a great idea. Our very first time fostering was we applied for a pregnant mama dog, which, by the way, anyone can do. Rescues are constantly in need of puppy and pregnant mama dog fosters.
And how did that go?
The first time was an absolute nightmare. We found out later that the previous owners of the mama dog had not wanted her to be pregnant and had done certain things to try and terminate the pregnancy. And they weren't successful, so they abandoned her at the shelter, where we then picked her up. And she gave birth to 12 puppies who were either already dead or in the process of dying. Of the 12 puppies, with intensive medical care, we were able to save one. It was very tragic and traumatic, and for both us and for the mama dog. But at the end, we were able to find the mama dog an amazing home, and we were able to find the one surviving little puppy an amazing home. And at the end, we were just like, my whole family was just like, what just happened? But I was just of the opinion, like, as awful as that was, I want to go again. I want to do this again.
Okay. See, that's the point where most people would say, I can't do this ever again, never again. And you were saying, let's go again. What part of that traumatic experience made you want to do it again?
Because I got one mama dog. She gave birth to 12 puppies, so that's 13 dogs. 11 died. 2 survived. Without me, 13 would have died.
Ooh, even the mother?
Even the mother. We pulled her the day she was supposed to get euthanized.
Oh.
So it was just you look at this dog and you look at this puppy, you hold them in your arms and you realize that their life exists because of something you did. And I can't express what an incredibly powerful feeling that is. It's not like you're playing God. It's like you're doing God's work sort of deal. You've shown a care and a responsibility that this animal has never known. And I do say animal because when you get a foster dog, they're not really dogs. They're they don't remember how to be a pet. They don't know how to be a pet. And so when you take this dog in and you show it love and kindness and, help it overcome all the things it's been through, you get to watch it become a pet again. And it is so cool. I love it.
Did you get to see that with the mother dog that you were midwife for?
Yes. She came in, and I've never seen a sadder creature. And by the time she left, she was just running around, playing fetch. It was the coolest thing to watch this dog who, would do, like the jump scares cats do when you put like something surprising
like a cucumber
next to them?
behind them.
Yeah. That was this dog when she came to me. And, by the end, she was running into my arms, cuddling with me, playing with other dogs. It was so cool to watch her go from essentially a wild animal, just all nerves and instincts, and become a pet. I love that about fostering.
And I will say, having rescued animals, dogs and cats, not quite as many as you, but having rescued some, I will say that feeling of power and feeling like you're doing God's work, it's almost like proof that you are actually doing some good.
Yes.
Because you can quantify it by the number of lives that would or would not be in the world without you.
Exactly. It's like vacuuming a really dirty floor. You just get this really good feeling of change happening.
Satisfying. Very satisfying.
Exactly.
And by this point in time, you have fostered exactly 76?
I lost count. It's definitely over 72, but I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
They come in and out. I have evidence of at least 76 dogs, but I know there were dogs I just didn't take photos of.
Oh, okay. So probably at least 76 then.
At least 76, probably more if my memory serves.
Okay. I was wondering if you had written down their names or what.
No, some of them come in and they're highly adoptable, and they'll come in and the next day they'll be adopted. And some of them come in and they are shadows and shells of a dog, and you need time to rebuild them. So those are the ones you remember and have photos of. And then the ones that come in, because sometimes you get foster dogs where it's just like, we had a baby and the baby's allergic to the dog, so we need to give it up. And that dog has never known trauma. That dog has only ever known a safe, loving home. And oftentimes those dogs are purebred. And so, there's typically already an adopter waiting in the wings for that kind of dog. So you just need to get the dog into a foster home, have that foster essentially say, yes, we agree that this dog is fine, and then the next day it leaves.
You mentioned, I guess, kind of that you sometimes get dogs as they are more instinctive and animal-like rather than pet-like, and then you have to basically prepare them or train them to be adoptable.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
For starters, for 3 days, I do nothing. I feed them, and I make sure they know where the water is and how, if they want to go outside to go to the bathroom, I make sure they know how to get there. And then I ignore them. If they want attention, they can come ask for it. But if you're in a new environment and everyone is watching you, that doesn't feel good. So I just pretend they're not there, and it's very rare for a dog to need more than 3 to 5 days of that to settle in, to feel that they're safe enough to come ask you for a little bit of help.
Oh.
Of course, there are dogs who are an exception to that, but a lot of times if you just ignore them, they warm up way more than if you try and make them feel welcome.
What would be the first indicator that this dog has already warmed up and they're ready for the next step?
They come and they touch you with some part of their body, either their nose or their cheek or a paw, maybe their shoulder blade.
And what does that signal to you?
That signals to me that they are willing to risk their safety on the off chance that this could be something good for them.
And what are they usually looking for? Just a pet?
Dogs are pack creatures. In the same way humans want to be around other humans, dogs want to be around a pack. So they are looking to see if you are going to be that pack. So maybe they want pets, but maybe they just want to feel a touch that doesn't hurt. So I generally won't pet them the first time they touch me.
Oh.
So the first time they touch me, I just let them touch me and I don't respond to it. They need to be comfortable knowing that the risk they're taking does not result in anything bad.
Okay.
And so again, for some of these dogs, anytime a human moves their hand towards them in the past, it's been to hit them. So if this dog takes the risk to come towards me, it is better that nothing happens than that a hand moves towards them gently. So until I can move my hands without them flinching, I will not try to pet them.
Some dogs must come to you with some sort of behavioral issues.
Oh, yeah.
What's like the least adoptable? What's the least adoptable dog you've run across?
I had one who was truly unadoptable, and he tried to kill my mother.
What, literally?
Yeah, literally. He was 100 pounds, and he had severe brain damage from a previous owner. He just would be laying there, and my mother would just be chatting with me, and all of a sudden he would try and attack her. Now, thankfully, by that point, I knew that, like, for the first 3 days, like, I had some warning that this dog was going to be an issue. So I had always kept him close at hand, and thankfully I was able to pull him away so that my mother never got hurt.
Okay.
But when a dog just flips a switch like that, most dogs give warning. They're like rattlesnakes. If you know how to read a dog, you can generally tell when the dog is about to do something aggressive. The most dangerous dog is a dog that doesn't give a rattle. The most dangerous dog is the dog that is just laying there and then tries to attack. And so that is truly unadoptable behavior.
What did you do after that?
There was no choice. A 100-pound dog that tries to attack and kill people, we took him to the vet. We took him to behaviorist. We had a whole rescue board meeting. But at the end, it was decided that he had to be humanely euthanized. Just because you can't adopt a 100-pound dog that tries to kill people.
Understandably. But that was in the U.S.
That was in the U.S., yes.
Okay.
But that is the only dog, and I've had a lot, that could not be saved. The most unadoptable behavior, though, is, of course, aggression. But there's, like I said, most dogs will give a rattle. They'll do something that tells you they're getting upset enough to attack. And that's what you work with when you're working with behaviors, is you first identify their rattle. And then you start working about redirecting them before they can get aggressive. And you teach them that self-soothing mechanism. And it takes a lot of work. But you can do it. And I have done it with multiple dogs. And those dogs are now living amazing lives with their adopters. These were dogs that had been returned to shelters over and over and over again for their aggression issues. And I think the most recent of those dogs is now 3 years in her forever home.
I mean, at 3 years, it's pretty much
the
deal
a
is sealed,
deal.
right?
But her adopters still send me like update photos every year, and they're like, "She's the best dog. Thank you so much for saving her."
Oh,
And this was a dog who had been returned 5 times for aggression
5
issues.
times.
So
How long did you work with that dog or other dogs that have aggression issues?
She was 2.5 months, but it was 2.5 months of everyday intensive 2-hour-long training sessions.
That's honestly pretty quick.
Yeah, but like a lot of people who have dogs like this do not have that kind of time. I was lucky to work an incredibly flexible job back then that allowed me to devote that kind of time to her. But I understand like why, sometimes dogs are put in bad positions.
Thank you so much, Jenna Dodson. Anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Just try and get involved however you can. Whether it's helping dogs or helping people, the world is a better place when we help each other.
Thank you so much. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.